Hello and welcome to the ScatterVolt channel, and today we are going to be building the worst $700 gaming PC in 2023. Hello and welcome to the ScatterVolt channel, and today we are going to be building the best $700 gaming PC in 2023. $700 is my favorite price point for a budget PC build because it strives the best balance between performance, utility, and overall aesthetics. So in today's build guide, I'll show you how to build this computer, how to go ahead and install Windows, drivers, then its 1440p and 1080p gaming performance, and then finishing off with my final thoughts on this $700 PC build. Once again, I'll have links to every single PC part I use to make this build possible down in the description below if you want to check out any of them, and if you want the best prices possible, then I recommend shopping at your local Micro Center where you can take advantage of many awesome deals. So with that, let's jump right into it right after a word from our sponsor. If you're looking for a brand new power supply, then look no farther than Cooler Master's new GX3 Gold. This comes in either 650 watts, 750 watts, or 850 watts, and features an innovative and streamlined design that not only looks pretty cool, but also functions, with even having an optimized heatsink below that mesh on the top of the power supply, allowing it to run about 5 degrees cooler. It also comes with its own custom ATX 3.0 power supply cable at a right angle, which due to its unique construction and design can run about 5 degrees cooler than the average ATX 3.0 power supply cable. And once again, this is an 80+ gold power supply at the end of the day, so it's going to deliver in terms of performance and efficiency. So if the GX3 and its dashing looks interest you, then I'll have a link to it at the top of the description. All right, so all I need to build this $700 computer is a pair of scissors and a banana. So for the motherboard and CPU we are using in this $700 PC build, we've got our hands on the i5-12400. This is a part of Intel's 12th generation CPU lineup on the LGA 1700 socket. And the coolest part why I like using that CPU in this PC build is we can utilize a motherboard like the B760MC that can allow us to upgrade up to a 14th gen Intel processor if we wanted. So you've actually got a pretty decent CPU upgrade path from this i5 if you wanted more gaming performance in the future. And also, if you're curious, this has the name C because this supports USB Type-C, which is on the PC case that we chose. So open this up, take out the motherboard, unsheath this, there you have it. Oh, and by the way, this motherboard supports built-in Wi-Fi. So if you didn't have access to your router to say plug in an Ethernet cable from your PC to your router, you can just use Wi-Fi. So you got yourself covered on that. And IO shield, you need this too. And lastly, here's our little makeshift motherboard manual. If you scan this QR code right here, it'll give you access to the support page for this motherboard, which includes the full-on manual. So if you have any questions on where goes what on the motherboard, please check that out. Otherwise, continue watching this video. Go ahead and unbox your CPU, take it out from here. And in this same box, you'll find your CPU cooler, which by the way, already comes with thermal paste pre-applied. So take out your CPU, locate the triangle on the bottom left of the CPU, and you're gonna line that up with the triangle on the bottom left of the socket. Pull up this lever, open up the socket, then gently drop this in. So make contact with the motherboard, give it a little jiggle to make sure it's in, and once it is, put back down the bracket, take your lever, press this in, apply some pressure, and there you have it. Then for our CPU cooler, doesn't matter which way you put it in, but go ahead and line it up with these 4 holes right here on the motherboard socket. Line it up with the 4 pins here on the CPU cooler. Once they're in, press in one side, press in the other side, press in the other side, and the final side. Then go ahead and plug in your CPU fan cable into where it says CPU fan on the motherboard. This will only go in one way, and there you have it. Okay, which one first? RAM or SSD? You know, we'll do SSD. So here we have the Samsung 970 EVO Plus 1TB M.2 SSD. I recently polled you guys on my YouTube community page, and apparently a lot of you guys like this SSD. It may not be a PCI Gen 4.0 drive, but it is a Samsung drive, has DRAM, TLC, and overall is a really reliable SSD, which is probably why you guys like it a lot. Now you can get this at a really excellent price at Micro Center. That's why I always love picking up Samsung drives every time I visit a Micro Center, which once again, I'll have this linked in the description below. Then for our RAM, we are going with DDR5 RAM in a $700 gaming PC, which by the way, we have 32 gigabytes of 6000 megahertz RAM, and this is an RGB white kit from Team Group. The prices for DDR5 RAM have been coming down a lot, and I am really happy recommending this newer type of RAM and a gaming PC like this, because that way you don't have to buy yourself another kit of DDR5 RAM if you say bought the older and slower DDR4 RAM. And it is compatible on this motherboard. So to install the RAM, this will only go in a certain way. As you can see, the little inserts here on the motherboard are different sizes, so you really can't mess this up. But you're gonna wanna put in these RAM sticks into slots A2 and B2 on the motherboard, which by the way, you can see right here, printed out. Then go ahead and insert your RAM into the first slot. Once it's there, press it in all the way. Make sure you hear an audible click. And then do that again for slot B2 or A2. Firm click, there you have it. Then for our M.2 SSD, we don't need a screwdriver. Just go ahead and pull this out of the motherboard. Take our M.2 SSD, line it up with the M.2 connector slot. This will only go in one way. Press it in, press it down, put the pin back in place, turn it around, click it back in, and well, bam. And this is what your motherboard should look like once you have everything installed. Anyways, for the case, we are using the Dark Flash MH200. This case, believe it or not, costs $60 and comes with one pre-included RGB fan. And yes, this isn't tempered glass, it is actually perforated mesh. So it's something a little different. I think it's pretty cool. My own personal PC has a perforated mesh side panel for more performance. Anyways, we are given a manual right here. And if we flip this around, here's all of our front IO cables right here. And here is a baggie full of screws and stuff we'll need to install everything we'd want into this PC case. Anyways, before we put the motherboard into the PC case, because that is the next step, let's go ahead and put in our IO shield. So take your scissors, open this up. As you can see, there are two sides to this IO shield. There's a part with these sticky bits sticking out and a flat side. And we want the flat side facing the outside of the PC case. So go ahead and line up the IO shield with this backside port on the PC case. Make sure it's in the right orientation, like what your motherboard has. You're gonna wanna press in each of these corners, and there you have it. Before we place the motherboard into the PC case, let's make a note of how many standoffs we have in the PC case. So we have here on the motherboard 8 standoff holes, and in the PC case we have 6 standoffs. So we're missing 2 standoffs from this side of the motherboard for the PC case. So to address that, we're gonna go ahead and use these standoffs that you see here on screen that I found in the baggie in the back of the PC case, and we're gonna screw these in. And now we have the 2 missing standoffs taken care of. So let's go ahead and drop in the motherboard. This should line up with the IO shield that we placed in earlier. There we go, make sure to fully press it up against the IO shield so you can line up your standoff holes with the standoffs. Then with your Phillips head screwdriver, go ahead and use these screws you see here on screen and go ahead and start screwing these into the motherboard one by one. However, don't screw them in all the way. Don't do that just yet. Once we get all of these screws in, then we'll go ahead and individually tighten them one by one. That way we put equal pressure on all sides of the motherboard and prevent any motherboard flexing. All right, we've got all the screws now into the motherboard, and now we can go ahead and individually tighten these one by one, going from corner to corner in a crisscross pattern. And while we're here, let's go ahead and take care of our single case fan. So we have 2 connectors here. We have our RGB connector and our fan header, which our fan header that controls the speed of the fan is gonna go right here, if you can see it, where it says sysfan, right there. And then for our RGB, that's gonna go right here where it says ARGB, or GDV actually, because if you look at the connector right here, this has 3 inserts or 3 holes, and this has 3 pins right here, so it's gonna go like this. Although I recommend putting this cable and routing it behind here so it isn't in the way. Okay, for the power supply, we are gonna go with the Zalman Gigamax 600 watt 80 plus bronze power supply. This has been my favorite budget go-to power supply because it has a pretty nice balance between part quality, price, and wattage. And for this build guide, 600 watts is totally fine, but Let's say you wanted to upgrade your CPU or GPU in the future, then you'd obviously need more wattage than that. So if you want to get a bigger power supply right off the bat to support more upgrades in the future, you're totally welcome to do that as well. Here's your power supply cable. You're gonna plug into the wallet, keep that on hand. Here's the screws and zip ties. All right, and here is our power supply. And once again, this is non-modular, so all of the cables are gonna be here bundled with the power supply. And to install this, pretty easy. Welcome to use the screws found here with the power supply, or the same screws that are found in the PC case baggie, which I'm gonna go ahead and use these silver ones because they fit the aesthetic of the build. Take your power supply, flip it upside down so the fan side is facing down. Bring this in. Line it up with the holes here on the PC case. Then one by one, screw these in all the way. Okay, and now we are ready to start plugging everything into the PC case. So let me show you how that's gonna look. Once again, our single case fan is already installed, so that is taken care of. But on the back side, we have two sets of cables. All of our front I/O cables for our power button, reset button, USB and USB Type-C, and audio. And then all of our power cables for our motherboard, our CPU, our graphics card, and anything else we might have. So let's start with the front I/O. All right, let's go ahead and plug in our USB 3.0. We just go into this port right here. This will only go in one way. Easy peasy. Then let's plug in our USB-C connector. We're just gonna go right here to where it says USB-C. Plug this in, it'll only go in one way, like that. Then here is our HD audio connector. This is always gonna go on the bottom left of the motherboard. Once again, this will only go in one way. Easy. Then here we have our front I/O cables for our power button and anything else we need. Now for this exact layout, you can find this on the motherboard manual. It'll tell you where each of these connectors go, or you can just follow my lead right here. The power LED minus and plus are gonna go on the top left of the front I/O connector, like that. Then the power switch connector is gonna go to the right of that, right next to it. Then the reset switch is going to go underneath the power switch. And now it should look something like that. Oh, and your HDD LED goes right below the two power LED pins. There you go. Now let's go ahead and plug in our power connector, starting with the motherboard power connector. This is only gonna go one way, because as you can see, there's this latch here on the connector and a little notch on the actual connection. Line the two up, press it in all the way, and there you have it. And then finally, here is our 8-pin CPU power connector. Once again, there's a little latch right here, notch here on the connector. Line the two up. This will only go in one way. You'll know if it works or not. Press it in, wha-bam. Then lastly, here's our PCIe power connector. This is what's eventually gonna plug into the graphics card, which let's take care of now. For our graphics card, we have the Intel Arc A750, but not just any regular A750. This is the Sparkle OC Edition. This is a brand new type of aftermarket Arc A750 graphics card that comes in the color blue. And this is what's gonna get you that gaming performance in any game you wanna play, really. And oh man, this only costs $200. You're getting insane value for the price. And how about for the looks? Oh. Okay, you guys can't tell, but if you look in these B-roll shots, the PCB is blue and the cooler itself is blue. That is so freaking cool. $200. Anyways, Arc A750, 8 gigabytes of VRAM, but it isn't lame. It's got a 256-bit memory bus, so that is going to future-proof it a little bit for higher memory textures in whatever PC games you want to play. If you buy a Sparkle graphics card, you get yourself 2 free games, like Gotham Knights, if that's your thing. And like any modern day graphics card, you have access to ray tracing with these Arc GPUs, Intel XeSS, which is their form of upscaling. It's kind of like DLSS for Intel graphics cards. And you have access to the AV1 codec. So if you want to do any game streaming or game recording with the best codec out there for the lowest file sizes, but at the highest bit rates, or at the best quality with the lowest internet bandwidth for streaming, you have access to that on this $200 graphics card. You're getting insane value on this. Anyways, take off your PCI Express cover, like that. So with this PC case, it looks like you're gonna have to break off some of these PCI covers for our Arc A750. Here's our topmost slot. Graphics card is gonna start here at the topmost slot, so let's unscrew this. There's that. And then we need to break off next one below it because the ARC A750 here is a 2-slot graphics card. So we need to remove 2 slots. So to insert this, go ahead and press open the tab. And we're gonna line this up with the topmost slot on the motherboard for maximum performance. Go ahead and press out this latch, line up the GPU. There it is. And now give this a firm press and you should hear a click. And once that is in, go ahead and press back in this tab. Then screw in the same screws you used for the power supply. You might need another one. All right, go ahead and screw back in the latch so it's all firm. And now I want you to finally go ahead and unwrap these Wi-Fi antennas for the motherboard. Put these in here in the back one by one. And finally, our PC is ready to boot up for the first time and install Windows. So let's get right to that. Don't forget to plug in your PCIe power cables to the ARC A750. Bam. All right, so to boot this up for the first time, make sure you have a mouse and keyboard plugged into the PC. Of course, have a monitor, but don't forget to plug in your display cable from the monitor to the graphics card. A lot of people mess that up. Don't plug it into the motherboard, plug it into the graphics card. Of course, don't forget your power cable from your monitor to the wall outlet. And of course, don't forget your power cable from the power supply to your wall outlet. So whenever you're ready to boot up, go ahead and flick the switch from the 0 to the 1. Then if you don't have one of these already, this is your Windows bootable media device. I have a video tutorial linked in the description and as a card on screen showing you how to create one of these on any 1GB or bigger USB flash drive. Plug this into the back of the computer or on the front, which is what I'll do for this tutorial. And with everything ready to go, press the power button, see if it turns on. Okay, so I booted up the computer and there wasn't a display, but don't freak out. Sometimes when you build a new computer, your graphics card doesn't have any pre-installed drivers, so DisplayPort sometimes doesn't work. And if that's the case, then just use an HDMI cable and then you should eventually get a display, this little circle, and soon in a sec, let's go ahead and install Windows. Okay, let's go ahead and install Windows, and it's really easy. Here you can activate your Windows key if you have one, but if you don't have one, you can still proceed with installation. So I'll click I don't have a product key, Windows 10 or Windows 11 Home, accept, next, custom, there's our drive, next, done. Now once you've reached this screen, select your country, keyboard. Now with your Wi-Fi or wired connection, go ahead and connect to your internet. Here you're welcome to name your device. I don't care though, I'll go ahead and skip. And then now it's time to sign in or either create a Microsoft account. So if you have one from college or one from your gaming days on Xbox, then you're gonna wanna go ahead and sign into this one or whatever, which one you're most comfortable with. And then if you're given this option, go ahead and click view more options, set up as a new device, hit next. Go ahead and create your PIN. This is what you'll use to sign into the computer every time. Then, for everything following this point, for privacy and any other features, I just go ahead and select no on every single one of these, or I just hit skip. Okay, now you should make it to the Windows home screen. I've got Edge open, and let's go ahead and install those graphics card drivers. So type in Intel Arc A750 drivers. Then right here on the topmost link with the intel.com, click on that. Then we're gonna wanna click on Intel Arc and Iris Xe graphics for Windows, click download. Then this should eventually open up. But while that's downloading, let's go ahead and install those chipset drivers for our motherboard. So type in the name of your motherboard, which is the Gigabyte B670M C. Click on the Gigabyte link. Here are the specifications, but let's go ahead and click on support. So you want to go ahead and click on utility and download the Gigabyte Control Center. And this is a really handy way of managing all of your chipset drivers, any other utilities on your motherboard in a single software. So let's go ahead and take care of our graphics drivers first. Let's go ahead and begin installation, agree, accept, start, boom. And while that is running, let's go ahead and start our Gigabyte Control Center download or installation. Click on that, extract all, extract. Let's go ahead and open that up. So you went ahead and finished up those Intel graphics card drivers. The computer automatically rebooted, took care of that. And if you remember, here are those Gigabyte Control Center things I was talking about. That also finished up. So to get those, click on the little arrows right here. And by the way, you can see we're on the latest version for our Intel Arc graphics card. And if you ever need to check for updates besides it doing automatically, you can just hit this. And once again, if you want to record anything, here is the little broadcast studio you can use. You can record up to whatever your monitor resolution is, up to 60 frames per second. And like I've said before, you have access to the AV1 codec if you want maximum quality at a low file size for your game recordings or streams. Then you should see this screen, and you don't need to have every single one of these. I don't need Orton, obviously. I don't need whatever the CFOS thing or Smart Backup, but I do need Wi-Fi drivers, do need LAN drivers, and anything else. Let's go ahead and install these. These will run and do their own course, and once this all wraps up, we will enter the BIOS and check on one more thing. So once all of this finishes up, the final thing we're gonna do is we're gonna hit the start menu, hit restart. Then as the BIOS screen comes up, we're gonna hit the delete key, or if for any reason your computer doesn't want to boot into the BIOS, if you press the delete key when you first boot up, you can click on change advanced startup options, restart now. Okay, here we go. All we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and enable XMP. So we'll go ahead and hit XMP1. So there's our XMP profile for our RAM. And then here, if we go into advanced mode, settings, I/O ports, then if we go down to resizable bar, that is enabled. That is all we need to check. We are ready to go for gaming, and save and exit setup. All right, let's go ahead and benchmark this $700 gaming PC. And just a note, we are recording and playing all the games at the same time, as you can see with the Intel Arc software, and we are using the AV1 codec. And get this, we are recording at 8,000 kilobits per second, or AKA 8 megabytes per second. That is really low. That honestly is all we need to get some pretty decent quality, as you can see from the video. That's one of the advantages of using AV1. You can get a lot of video quality, but at a small file size. Right, anyways, we have The Crew, Motorfest, and we are going to be playing the game at, let me show you, high settings, 1440p. Unfortunately, there is a frame rate lock because this game kind of sucks, but this is a AAA PC game that just came out. We're gonna run it a little bit. Frame rate is on the top left, and yeah, this game, wait, what? It just came out like a week ago? By the way, this game is like, if they said, all right, can I copy your homework to Forza Horizon? And they're like, yeah, sure, just don't make it obvious. And this is like nearly the same thing. And once again, the AI posed like no threat. Let's hit this pretty well. All right. Oh, we could have carried way more speed. Oh, is that it? Oh, we got tire wear. Okay. I wasn't expecting that. Am I behind now? All right. Okay. You know what? Tire wear, that's something Forza doesn't have, in its current state at least. Oh, I kind of jiffed that. Oh wow, was that front left locking? Yeah, the front left was smoking just then. Okay. Okay, crew. I'll give you that. I will give you that. Tire wear is kind of neat to see in this game. Right. Oh, can we do another one? Oh no, it's the Motorsports series. Okay. I don't care. This game ran well in the Arcade 750 and i5. Let's move on to the next game. All right, next up, I want to try Returnal. This is a game from the PS5 that got ported over to PC earlier this year. Right now, we've got the game running at, let's see, 1440p. Intel XeSS is enabled. That's our form of FPS upscaling, similar to DLSS and FSR, so to balanced, and then the overall graphics at high settings. Once again, frame rate meter is on the top left, and if you like what you see, then great. We're gonna do a little bit of exploring though. It's been a while since I've picked up this game. Yeah, we're just retrieving. We're probably not gonna run into any baddies right now. I will say so far the frame rate is smooth. That's good to see. Oh, and by the way, if you didn't know, once again, we are recording and playing the game at the same time with the AV1 codec. All right, that's pretty spooky. We're going. Game looks great. Let's insert the key, see what happens. All right, we got, oh, it looks like a cave or something like that. Right, okay, so we have to double tap. All right, it's doing nothing. So be it, whatever. Oh, okay, hold up, nope, we got this. Jump, and then shift, okay. I don't know why I couldn't figure that out the first time. I don't know, do I bother to carry this puzzle? I'm here to show you guys the performance. And we've got about like 90 frames per second this whole time at 1440p, mind you, on a $700 computer. I don't know. Yeah, you know, I'm good. Let's move on to the final game. Okay, and to top things off, let's go ahead and run some Fortnite. We are running the game at high settings, 1440p, with the anti-aliasing set to TSR high. And honestly, I don't expect much as far as my performance goes in this game, but of the computer, you can see the FPS meter on the top left, and once again, this is being run at 1440p. If you want to get more frames per second, bump it down to 1080p, and I think you'll be pretty pleased. However, though, this is outside of a big team battle. We need to get inside of a big team battle to see how hard we can push this computer with a lot of fights and such. Here we go, first kill. Oh my god. And they build, of course. I didn't even shield up. All right, let's hide in here. The tree method as usual. No, we're just waiting for the right opportunity. Come on, just stand in one place. Stand in one place. Bruh. I have no ammo? What? Oh my, I had an ammo. I had one bullet in that gun. And now I don't anymore. This game, whatever. How did I get one shot? I had a shield and I had full health. Well, I guess I got shot a little bit. But dude could just pull up and then just one-shot me. And now I have sniper ammo. Thank you. Probably won't get that guy. Yep, and I die instantly. Yep. Oh! Yes! Got one. Okay. Oh, there's a guy up there, huh? Oh my. They've got to have like auto aim on or something like that if they're on controller. I got no other explanation. Got one. You know what? This might be the last time I benchmark Fortnite. I'm just done with this game, dude. I think just about any computer that I run on this game is going to complete it. Ah, there we go. Quick scope. Oh, I do not care. I do not care. That's it. That's it for the benchmarks. Let's go ahead and conclude with the build. So there you have it. Those are the benchmarks for the $700 gaming PC, and I ended up doing every single one of them at 1440p. Because the performance was there, I really can't complain. In fact, the only performance I will complain about, because I did run this game as of filming this video, and that is Starfield. It doesn't run well on the Arc A750, just keep that in mind right now at launch. Hopefully it'll get better over time as more drivers and better updates for that game come along, but that game definitely shafted Intel Arc graphics cards. That's just about the only game I would stay away from for the moment, but 3 to 4 months from now, that really shouldn't be an issue anymore because Intel Arc at that point should sort itself out, but that's just about the only performance gripe I have is Starfield on this PC. Otherwise, it's gonna run everything else, I think, pretty well, even other brand new AAA games like The Crew Motorfest. That game is a brand new game from Ubisoft, just came out. Intel Arc runs it out of the box, so once again, I think Starfield being an issue on Arc graphics cards is a game-specific issue since that title is an AMD-sponsored PC game. Other than that though, $700, I got no complaints. You're getting an i5 with 6 cores, and an Arc A750 with 8 GB of VRAM, which comes with that bigger 256-bit memory bus and access to the AV1 codec, and it's dropped in price to $200. And now you can get it in a really cool aftermarket card, like this Sparkle version here, which changes in color, I think, depending on how hot the GPU gets. So right now, while it's cool, never mind, it changes color when it wants to, okay. Aside from that though, aesthetics-wise, I think this build definitely could use some custom cables because it is a white PC case, so I would fork up a little bit for custom power sleeve cables that are white, which will only cost you an extra $20 or so. I'll link those in the description. And the single included fan is all right, but it wasn't bright enough, so I replaced it with 3 deep cool RGB fans. Once again, you're welcome to check those out as well. Those aren't required, but it would be nice because it is pretty good for your graphics card to have fresh airflow flowing to the graphics card for optimal performance. And I think the CPU cooler you could go without. The stock cooler is fine for an i5-12400 if you have enough case ventilation going on, but I had the spare Enermax CPU cooler lying around, so I put that in, and overall I think I've maximized the aesthetics of this $700 gaming PC build for only about $50 more than that $700 build price. So if you're happy with this $700 PC build and you want to build it yourself, then I'll have all of the parts for it linked in the description below. And if you've enjoyed this PC build video, then please give it a like. You gotta somehow increase the likes on my videos, because that actually has a correlation to how many views they get. So figuring out ways to do that without sounding like a shrug. So yeah. And if you've enjoyed these PC build videos, I'm always doing them. I'm always releasing them. So definitely subscribe to the ScatterVolt channel if you want to see more. So that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for watching. And this is the ScatterVolt channel signing out.